Well, that was our plan. You know, usually I prefer to speak about something actually interesting. I mean to talk about myself. However, when my colleagues from the higher school of urbanism approached me first, they said I would rather be talking about something like that, legal regulations of urban development. I thought I would die laughing. I even said, legal what? Of course, we have a nice place in here and probably we want to make a placebo party where we can dance and chill a little. But they insisted, they even repeated legal regulations of urban development. And in fact, it was a problem. People don't like jurisprudence and usually think that it is boring for normal people. If you had seen something like, we will talk about legal regulations and the new federal law number 000 FZ and the new town planning code, obviously not one person would come. But so we should do something like an old trick. We made the announcement, as you can see, a bit more mysterious, with robots' hands, and so this room is full of people, but no one really knows what I will talk about. But since you are already here, let's pretend I'm a storyteller and I've got some legal stories I'd like to let you know. And my main task is to make you sure that the law is like an art and the best lawyers are the artists. But the first story is not about the law. It is a story from my life, really. When I was a student, I attended the opening night, the first showing of a very popular movie, A Beautiful Mind. Of course, you know what this film is about. It is a fairy tale, I think, about the famous mathematician John Forbes Nash Jr. I should better say he was a mathematician. He brought together mathematics and magic. And he made an amazing discovery early in life, but his intuitive brilliance was damaged by schizophrenia. And after decades of suffering, he shared the Nobel Memorial Prize in economics with two other game theorists, Reinhard Zelten and John Hersenai. And many people still find that movie touching on many levels. The sweet romance part with Jennifer Connelly and love story. When somebody asked about my opinion, I usually said the movie is okay, but too much sugar for us tough guys. Too many cliches and glamour around science. But tonight I want to make a little confession. So I did something I'm not really proud of. Tell truth, I was impressed by that movie too. Guilty as charged. So I even bought a shooting script on Amazon, a scenario. Don't tell anybody. So we will cut it from the final version of the video. Well, I genuinely like the scene which opens the movie. Very promising and bright students from all over the country, like we also have here today. They listen to a silver-haired professor who delivers his ceremonial speech. Mathematicians won the war. Mathematicians broke the Japanese codes and built the nuclear bomb. Mathematicians, like you. In medicine or economics, in technology or space, we need results, publishable, applicable results. Now who among you will be the next Samuel Morse, the inventor of the telegraph and the famous painter, the next Albert Einstein? Today we'll give our future into your hands. Welcome to Princeton, gentlemen. And so we think here, we believe in the romance of modern technologies, but a technology itself is not really interesting. It is not really interesting for me either. Any new solution, new machine exists in a space full of something. Does not exist in an empty space or in a vacuum. Technologies are already here in the territories of our cities, and so our legal rights. Any legal right, I stress it, any right, should be exercised somewhere, and that where is our city. So you probably have already seen our showcase. So here I am, this is me and the flying drones on the left side. So let's enhance it a little. Got it. So the course will enable students to develop new laws that allow the introduction of new technologies or business models that are currently considered non-legal or illegal. But before doing all that stuff, we should first of all understand that technology develops much faster than the law. And the old legislation was written with the previous states of a technology in mind. It is no longer suited for the cities of 21st century. And our colleagues from foreign universities usually tell that the urban situation today is somehow similar to the Formula One auto racing. In 1960s, Formula One cars were completely mechanical devices. Because you can see here, they were designed with traditional pencils, and the driver was the key character in understanding the car performance. After a race, any driver translated to his engineers what the car was saying to him. You can see here is John Brabham, an Australian racing driver. He was a three-time Formula One world champion in 1960s. And in 1966 Formula One season, Brabham became the first and still the only man to win a Formula One race driving a car of his own construction. So he was a mechanic and a driver. But in modern Formula One cars, we have telemetry technology. It is a computer on wheels. Digital systems now allow us to communicate directly with the ground crew. So engineers can analyze the car performance without them needing to come to the car. And they use computer simulations to predict race strategies. So I've got some pictures where it is a Formula One Zauber car, a team from Switzerland. And here is that car from the inside. As I have just told, it is a computer on wheels. It has more than 100 sensors that measure everything in real time. Oil, water, tire temperatures, sand, pressure, speed, and even the driver's heartbeat. So data are collected in the electronic control unit, and then it is transmitted to the pits, to his engineers. So in the pits, a team of engineers studies the data. It is not a bar counter, as you could possibly think. Nobody really knows what they're doing at the time of being pictured, but probably they were analyzing the car performance. So the idea is that today winning the race is not about the driver, it is about his engineers, it is about computers, digital systems, and the same applies to our cities. Let's compare two pictures. Planners at work, New Orleans, 1960s, and it is a new center of traffic control in Moscow. Probably they were doing nothing at the time of the picture, but we should think that they were doing something quite important. We might see that digital technologies changed our life as they changed Formula One auto racing. Real-time control systems may dynamically react to the citizens' behavior. But why I'm here? Because the new forms of machines live together with the old legislation, with traditional juridical tools, with old school tools. Legal instruments today remain the same as many decades ago, and even centuries. That's why we must produce a new legal ideology. It consists of two basic ideas. The first is that law is a mirror of every society. Well, the idea of the law was that it was generally understood to be a mirror of us, probably a magic mirror. The law reflects society in every moment of its evolution. And, how to say, law is like a glove that molds itself to the shape of my hand. And it tells us about the political and the social climate and even the spirit of the age. If you want to know something about the people, the time, the city, you should look what the law is. And for these reasons, legal regulation cannot transform a society on its own. It can only follow the direction in which society was already going. And one of the tasks of my discipline is to create a legal context in which new city agreements and the new legislation can come. You can see here, my idea is that the development of the law depends on how many people and other stakeholders are involved. Public authorities, enterprises and industry, civil society organizations, trade unions, environmental, consumers organizations, research and funding, and the public at large. Public is a key word when we think about new regulation. And that is the second basic idea, that people are in the center of any legal regulation. The legal system was originally made for the people. It was invented, it was meant to protect them and to promote justice. And so were our cities. They were created by society itself. And I think that they are still for people. And we should involve citizens into new tools of governance to enlarge their participation in the city's life, to engage them. I think that when it comes to a new legislation, we should discuss these ideas more wide. And I want to open some kind of public debate about the specific regulation that soon will exist in our cities, in the urban space. Last month, me and my friend and colleague Dmitry Ogorodov, who is also a Ph.D., we delivered here a tech breakfast in the Shukov Lab. It was dedicated to modern cities and technologies, and the first tech breakfast was about modern robotics legislation. We discussed the main issues that were connected with the legal regulation of new robots, new automatic systems, every automatic system that could be used in urban space. And I hope this work here will be continued, and we will organize many public debates on the various legislation. So, how to say, watch the news and stay tuned. And the next part of my lecture consists of some illustrations. I want to show you real difficulties concerning legal regulations in the field of city and technology. So, let's talk about the Internet of Things. This term refers to the connection of everyday objects to each other and to Internet. Some objects that you have been already used in the real life have a digital connective element, and collectively they become a network. Everything and anything could be tagged and brought online. Usually it is described with some stupid cartoons. So the refrigerator can touch our supply of fruits to make sure it is full and fresh, and if not, call the nearest grocery shop to order a new one, or it asks me to buy it, as we can see on the picture. But there are more serious problems here and more serious legal issues. In 2012, in London, the young designer Simon Medvedev made a beautiful art experiment, edited products. You can see more about his ideas on the internet site editedproducts.com. But I will try to simulate part of his experiment on the screen, but under our conditions. So let's pretend we have a little restaurant here, first line of Myasnitskaya Street, open space, friendly first floor, and we have stocked our kitchen with the right equipment. Including 3 smart toasters. Okay. But we are living in the 21st century, right? So we got some kitchen innovations. And we made a really smart network of all devices, which of course have their unique system names. So let's call our toasters Gleb, Ivan, and Pavel Ivanovich. So we opened our doors, serving dishes that were created with the help of our smart kitchen, but suddenly, as it happens with people, our toasters began to compare itself to others. You remember, they're smart, they're really smart, and they discovered that Gleb and Pavel Ivanovich were used more often than the toaster named Ivan. So toaster named Ivan was not used less, or in some days was not used at all. And it was very frustrating. Ivan wanted to be used like the others. He tries to draw our attention, and he pretends to look a more suitable toaster. So it started complaining, as you can see, and soon told the network that he wanted to go somewhere else. He was not happy with us. So either we let him go, or it would take an extreme decision like destroy itself or stop working. And that is serious legal issue, because our traditional understanding of property and ownership is about something firm, is about something unchanging. But when we talk about something smart, things, our ownership becomes unstable. Such device, as a smart Ivan, can develop over time, and eventually it might start an autonomous life and decide not to be our property anymore. Some such type of smart things for me seem a dangerous idea. We probably have something to fear, right? Why would I want such a crazy toaster? So lawyers have some work to do. We should discuss what is the legal nature of so-called smart things. Who is responsible for them? Is it a real property, or is it a new type of property? So we'll start to discuss some of these questions from the beginning of September. And I think that's enough for the Internet of Things. I have another great case, legal case. It concerns a regulatory network for drones. Drones are extremely popular today, and the key word here is unmanned. There is no man here. Drones are operated with no pilot on board, and as you know, they come in all sorts and shapes, and you can see the examples on the right. They weigh hundreds of kilograms, and they even need a flight crew on the ground and a team of engineers, and initially they were developed for military purposes and even for killing people. But here we are more interested in the examples on the right. So on the right, and on the left from your side, and it is something that you can put on your shelf and use in everyday life for, I don't know, gathering images, photography, infrastructure monitoring, mapping, and so on. So we have a battle over drone regulations between the lawyers, because it is about our individual privacy rights and security reasons. People don't like much the idea of flying drones, monitoring our every activity, flying and gathering images or recording video or for our day-by-day routine. So they usually ask, why would I allow drones to fly into my backyard? I probably should shoot these things out from the sky. And our government also considers the idea of flying machines, drones, in a negative light. Nowadays we have overly restrictive regulation here. And the same situation applies to the United States of America. Drones are mostly prohibited, with few exceptions, primarily for public purposes. And don't be tricked by the news. Last December, Amazon made its first delivery by drone. But it was not only the first, it was the last delivery, because they need the permission of the Civil Aviation Authority for every delivery. So it was something they did only once for a show. It wasn't the usual practice. So the discussion about how should we regulate flying machines, drones, is dominated by skepticism now, like that. But I think here we should be more optimistic about drones. I think that this technology soon, in the near future, will change the way we live and work in our cities, and they will become part of our daily lives much faster than we think. Of course, they should comply with aviation safety rules, but remember, these old legal rules were created for the manned system. They need a man in the vehicle. Why should we apply the old legal regulations to the system which is unmanned? There is nobody in here, and I think we should better construct a new regulation. It is not about drone hunting licenses, it is about their unbelievable potential for the market. And a primary advantage, I think, is that drones can fly and can go easily to the places where people cannot. They could be used in an unlimited number of areas. In finding missing persons, can help authorities to control the border, in firefighting, they can plant trees, they can fertilize, and much more. And I think that we have to be open-minded when we are talking about the idea of the legal regulation for drones. And we should try to reconsider the old juridical doctrines in the context of our digital age, because our city is not for a war, is not for military purposes. You remember the previous picture, people are in the center of any legal regulation. And so we should find a balance between harms and benefits of commercial and civil drone use, and our students will help us, I hope, to find a real solution and to try to draft the legal regulations step by step. Of course, it sounds optimistic, but I think that it is always more simple to prohibit something than to develop something good. And I always remember a funny story from the crazy 90s. In October 1994, the Russian government was very worried of people printing money at home on their color printers. And it adopted a new legal regulation at that time, the resolution which regulated color reproduction devices. And according to that procedure, after you bought a color printer, you should go to the police station and ask them to register your device. A police officer then should visit your home and to check. He wanted to check the room where the color printer was stored. In that room you should have special locks and even an alarm system, and if it were okay, a police officer would give you a certificate, a legal document that your color printer was registered through a legal procedure. And probably I need to ask you, did anybody register your color printer at the police station? Maybe your parents did, or Alexei, you probably did.
Never.
Never. What a nasty behavior. I didn't expect so much criminals here. Of course it sounds funny today, but remember, it was an official ruling. It was signed by our Prime Minister, and this rule was withdrawn only 7 years ago, in 2010. Before 2010, we had to register our devices, our color printers, but we didn't probably, but we had to. And maybe if we consider drones illegal today, our future generations in 2040 may also will scream with laughter and laugh aloud about it. So I want to make a short run through other legal ideas which my students will discuss soon. The first concerns so-called portable pollution sensors. Last October I gave a seminar where we were discussing the legal case of Moscow oil refinery plant, Gazprom Neftemontaze. It owns, as you can see, an enormous territory in the southeast of Moscow, near the Moscow River. And still, it is often considered as a source of pollution. And it is always difficult to file a lawsuit to the court and to try to prove that this pollution has occurred, because pollution data are collected in the ground-based stations that are mostly controlled by the government. But I think that in the near future we will have portable pollution sensors. So citizens themselves could monitor air quality, and they will do it in real time with their smartphones. And this data can be used as evidence in court. Like we use driving video recorders in our cars, so we can use a pollution recorder and we can register air quality conditions, and it would be an evidence in the court of law. So my next idea is about so-called digital crowds. So we are getting accustomed that smart cities change our behavior, and we have smartphones, we have social networks, so it is more easier to act collectively, and it transforms our citizens into a smart crowd. And this type of activities need new legislation, new legal contracts, new forms of collective contracts, new forms of collective petitions. So we need a completely new ideology here, a new set of legal ideas. And I think also we will discuss these ideas soon. And the last case concerns the so-called plus energy architecture. The idea is that our homes could generate more energy than it uses, and it can even sell the excess energy to help me earn money. And there are many projects in that sphere. I have chosen for you one designed by Interface Studio architects. It is called Raspberry E+. You can see here it is a cluster of townhouses, each topped with a solar panel, and it can produce around 10,000 kilowatts per year, So this amount of energy is far more than needed. So homeowners may sell extra energy, extra power back to the city or to their neighbors, or may store it in the local batteries, or we can use it to charge my Tesla car. And we need a flexible law here and the new forms of civil energy contracts. We are free to make decisions how much energy do we need. So, for example, I don't like too hot temperature at home, but my neighbor likes, and he wanted 30 degrees, but I wanted 18. So I can sell the excess energy, and we need a simple regulation here. So as you can see, there are many new technologies on the way, and they are coming soon. They soon will become a part of our life, and lawyers have some work to do to propose new regulations, new legislation, and to correct the old laws. And I want to say some words about how to draft a new law, and we need to return to my presentation. Okay. Probably some of you were here last December 15th. Vicente Guayart delivers here his speech, and he told us what usually happened with him in Barcelona when he was talking with lawyers about something new or something radical. Like the lawyers always said to him, it is not possible, it is not legal, it is not allowed, we don't have any regulation. He was surprised, but from my point of view, it is no surprise here. It is no surprise that lawyers behave in such a manner, because any lawyer is a guardian of traditions. He protects the stability of life, and of course I always behave in a similar way when somebody tries to speak of flying cars or delivery flowers to the moon. When my clients talk like that, I usually shake my head and say, that's ridiculous, that it is not possible. But that's why we need here a team, a cooperation between the best lawyers and the best people from other areas of knowledge, from geography, from sociology, from architecture. So we can make new laws collectively, and we will collect the ideas of all that people, and some work in that regard will be done with my future students. As you can see here, the students will be asked to draft new regulation that makes the introduction of new technologies legally possible. And it is called learning by doing. We can't teach you to play the piano only by talking. Do it yourself with the right guidance. And we the lawyers have a joke. It is Otto von Bismarck's famous German politician. It is his idea that laws are like sausages. It is better not to see them being made, but nevertheless, let's see. So, since my students have no drafting experience yet, they should first of all study legal drafting methodology, or legal drafting for simplistic legal solutions. And the type of work that they will do initially, they should start from preparing such kind of legal document and explanatory notes. And it is not a project of law yet. It is a description that forces you to think before you start drafting, a research and an analysis, and something that you do before you pick up your pencil and write something. And we need to prove that the existing legal regulation is not allowed here, or that the existing legal framework should be reviewed. And a problem is not that a specific law does not yet exist. There is no energy law. It is a proper statement. We should not draft a new law only because we don't have the law with the word energy in the title. But the law should solve a real problem. As you can see, why the rules are needed. Because people cannot sell excess energy, it is illegal, it is a proper statement, it is a starting point to draft something. For example, let's take a case of nanotechnologies. What should we describe? It is about the explanatory notes first. My students will say, okay, the existing legal regulation is not adequate for the field of nanotechnologies. Why? I ask them that. They will say there is no shared understanding in terminology, in classification, in common standards of nanomaterials. Nanotechnologies imply a number of risks, dangers to health and to the environment. And what is the real problem here? For example, some nanoparticles have already been included to the sun creams and to cosmetics. So the manufacturers are already using nanomaterials without any legal regulation. So we should propose the rules that will regulate that field, that from the one side that it will help nanotechnologies to develop faster, and from the other we might balance it with a more severe regulation in strategic sectors for the national economy. It is like risk-benefit analysis and balance. So only after the explanatory notes are ready, we may begin drafting a new law. And first, we need to determine whether it is a general law or a special law. General law is one that applies to everybody, to everyone in Moscow. Special law has limited application on, for example, for one district or for one type of streets or for one type of persons or for something that will occur one time. An example of the general law would be the Moscow Nanomaterial Act, and the special law, the Moscow Nano-Experiment Act, that establishing nano-experiment stations in one district of Moscow, in Kuntsov, for example. And also we can correct a new law, a current law, instead of writing something entirely new. And then we should make key legal terms and the principal provisions. Principal provisions, it is the heart of the act. It creates rights and duties, liability, and so on. And we should next understand how the new law is connected with our fundamental rights, right to health, to the environment, to information. And the last part is so-called transitional rules, how and in what order the new law will, how to say, come into effect. And as a result of this work, we will have a zero draft and a legislative agenda for our government. It will be only the starting point, because then we should invite the professional lawyers to do the rest of the work, because we should put these ideas into the right words, and that is the job of the lawyers, and that is my job, that is what I was trained for, and I think we should read more about how difficult the art of legal drafting is. It is a new book by Professor Helen Sonthaken. She's from London, and it is called Drafting Legislation, Art and Technology of Rules for Regulation, and I hope you'll find the book interesting and maybe touching on some levels. And in summary, I'd like to say that drafting a specific law is not a solution for all legal problems, because a technology is always running much faster than the law. And that's why, as I have previously said, we should first of all produce a new legal ideology. To create it, it is my message to the society, the ideas, and it is a vision that explains what to do with the new technology, what not to do, and who is responsible when something goes wrong. And we can now start speaking and start dreaming not just about correcting the old legislation. Correcting the old legislation is more or less simple. We can even revisit the basic concepts on which the law has rested for many centuries. The completely new ideology. Can anyone hold property right over his life? Do I have a property right? Or might the city's nature still be considered nature when we talk about the city's plants near the Moscow oil refinery plant? Maybe they are now only genetic mutants, and it is not nature. What is natural then? We probably need a new concept of nature here. And answering these questions presents a huge challenge for all of us, and both for lawyers and for people from the geography and sociology and so on. And I think that we will soon find that the old traditional juridical tools are no longer suited for us, and that's why I'm here. That is what my discipline is about. So I should better say something like last word. There is no smart city without smart citizens, I think, and our job now is to think about it and to dream big. So dream with us.